So, keeping busy with music, what kind of guitars do you like to play right now?
Well,
Um,
the same ones I've always played, basically. I sort of had to give up with Marquise in our first band. I had a Birdland, a Gibson Birdland. Then I tried some more, and it seemed that the producers and guys in the '60s that were making records wanted that Telecaster sound. So I've been a Telecaster guy all my life, and I'm still playing one today. It's not made by Fender, nothing against Fender at all, but I play. There's a reason why I play what I do. It's made by Peavey, but it's a direct copy of a Telecaster.
Cool.
yeah, it's really cool.
So,
And is there a particular amp that you use normally?
uh, not really. The one that was on Green Onions and a lot of the Otis Redding and stuff is at the Smithsonian in Washington D.C. right now. And I said I can't give you the guitar. I don't have it anymore. The next best thing I can do is give you the amp it was played through. So
Yeah,
they had it at the Smithsonian.
cool.
Wow.
And the guitar they have on display is the Esquire that I use to play the electric licks on sitting on the back of the back.
Yeah.
And they have that up there. Now I played two guitars. I played acoustic on the original track, and then I overdubbed the electric. Otis never heard the licks on the electric. Never heard it. He never heard the waves of the seagulls either. But he wanted it. I know we talked about it. And he and I both agreed that probably the way to embellish the song and fill it out was to have background. And so the original song may not have made it. I mean, after we put on, I said, after you, in about 2 weeks, I'm doing the Staple Singers. I'll guarantee you, without even asking them, they would be more than happy to sing on an Otis Redding track.
I guess
And
so.
I did do the song one time in Tunica, Mississippi, at a casino in the Jordan area. They said, "You mind if we sing on Dock of the Bay?" I said, "Minded." Well, then I finally got to hear it. Backgrounds on Dock of the Bay. It was awesome. So, too
It's a
bad it wasn't
catchy.
on the original record.
Oh,
It is, and the way I embellished it was the waves and the seagulls, because I tried to get the seagull sound by doing frills or whatever you want to call them, trills on the electric, and it just didn't pull it off. And sometimes diddly those things and all that.
yeah.
I'd done it before, but it just didn't. It didn't sound like a seagull, so neither did Otis. But I got recordings of real seagulls and put them together, and it worked.
Cool.
Awesome.
Lucky me. Lucky for everybody, because they
Yeah.
can relate to that. And if people that like Dock of the Bay, if they've never been to the ocean or the beach, they want to go. And that's exactly the way it would sound. And I got to separate the two of them, so that was pretty good. I had the ocean waves on one track and the seagulls on another track, and I just pulled them up whenever there was a hole.
It's actually pretty cool. The first song I ever covered was sitting on the dock of the bay. That's no joke. And
Really?
we had sequences going on with sequels on the background. That was I remember that the track was going on and that we had like, oh yeah, you really missed them if you put them away.
Have you heard the outtakes? There was a CD that Concord put out with 3 outtakes of Sitting on the Dock of the Bay, and it's where Otis is trying to imitate a seagull.
I heard
And I
one
always
of
say
them.
he sounds like a dying crow that somebody just shot out the air. Ha, ha, ha. It's so bad. The take of that you guys all know that's out there, the record that's out there.
Hmm.
People ask me, they still ask me, "Was that you whistling?" Because I whistle on stage. And I said, "No, it actually was Otis." And if you listen to the outtakes, Ron Capone, who engineered it, said, "Steve, could you move in a little bit?" I guess I'd moved off the mic playing the acoustic, and I did move in. He said, "Otis, one thing for sure, you'll never be a whistler," or something like that. He proved him wrong on the next take, whistled his kazoo off. And I do tell the story, and as far as I remember, it was definitely a true story. That when I wrote with Otis, we didn't write fade out stuff. He just come up with something, and so a lot of times Al Jackson, our drummer, would say, "Let's just start there." So that was why the whistling. So Otis couldn't remember what we had basically written or thought about, and he just started whistling. Not very good, but he did on that one take. It fades out pretty quick though.
But it makes a song.
Well, it does, but it fades out pretty quick, and I guess people just keep on going with it.
We have a lot of European fans that, maybe have never been to Nashville before. Can you talk about a little bit like what Nashville's like right now?
I've
How's
been
music
here a long
going?
time, and I did notice it pulling into the parking lot. We're at RCA right now, where I'm sitting at RCA Studios. They opened up the museum, which is Studio B. There's an A, B, C. B was turned into a museum. RCA built this in 1963 or 4 for Elvis.
Oh wow.
And where we're sitting, my office and the studio, is where Chet Atkins had his mastering room. And that was about 100 years ago. And so when he quit mastering records, he turned that room into a studio.
Cool.
So we have my office, the studio, and another room that we use for storage that we used to rent out as an office. And those people, because of the pandemic, had to quit. Yeah. So it is what it is, and we use it for storage again. Oh, okay.
I was actually recently in Nashville right the week before the country shut down. So, the streets were full of music. Every bar had music on it, every floor.
Well, you got to see it the good times.
Yeah.
They, well, I don't know. I haven't been down there either, so I don't know. I did see all of the craziness on TV. All the stores you're talking about, they're
Yeah.
all broken into, and
Wow.
Acme restaurant on the corner down there shut down, and I used to host a radio show there and do that. Acme Radio, I think, is still alive, but the restaurant's been shut down because there's no customers downtown.
Yeah.
And the restaurant business itself took the biggest hit in the United States. It took an early hit, but a big one.
Yeah.
So I don't know if any of those stores will come back or not, but I did notice today that the museum is open. That's where I started the conversation. And that's a good thing. We don't know at this point whether the Stax Museum will be reopened or not. So the main thing first is to try to hang on to the Academy and keep it going. And I should know I'm on the board of directors, but I got a call when we get through with this interview and find out from Deanie Parker if the Academy, Music Academy, was able to reopen. It's a great academy. I've been there many times, so it's awesome. It's right next door to where the old Stax was.
Oh, cool.
That is cool.
So it's right there on the premises.
As far as performances go, do you have a performance maybe in your career that sticks
Yeah,
out in your
the
mind?
one that comes up is the Stax Boat Tour, 1967, I think. That's what it says. April and May of 1967. And that was before we recorded Otis and Doc. We had some time off, and he wanted us to go back, and we couldn't do it. He went back and finished a tour or something he was doing, and came back and then had an operation on his throat. And so Ron Capone, who I already mentioned about being the engineer on a lot of it, said, "Have you noticed how well that Otis is singing?" I said, "Yeah." So we started getting out tracks. He didn't sing all that great on, but we didn't think it was, record-wise. And so we got him out, and he re-sang a lot of them. It was great. And I don't think he ever sounded any better than he did on Dock of the Bay. He really sounds good on that. It's still Otis, but a lot of that gravel is missing. And Mavis Staples almost lost her voice. And she had an operation for polyps on her throat. Her voice is back, and she sounds as good as she ever, better than she ever did, I think. As good as she ever did.
Wow.
Of course, a lot of the members of the Staples Singers are gone. And Mavis has been out there solo on her own for a long time.
Yeah. Great singer.
She is awesome, isn't she?
She is.
The last time I actually sat down with her, I'm pretty sure it was in Europe, because we did a lot of stuff together, but the one in Europe was the one I remember.
That's cool.
Did you have any obstacles maybe in recent years that maybe prevented you from playing music or anything that got in the way?
Just this recent one.
Yeah.
So I have guys call me really, literally crying the blues because they're totally out of work. They can't work.
That's awful.
And they are road guys. They're not necessarily session people like I am. I still get down to the studio every now and then, do overdubs. And like I said, we're working on a new project, and I get to overdub on that. I know I can't play like I used to, but it somehow doesn't matter. And every now and then we'll be running a track by for me to play on, and I'll go, "Damn, I wish I could still play like that." I can think like that. My hands just won't do it anymore. So I still have dexterity. I don't have a problem with my hands, but my brain tells my hands what to do, and they don't react like they used to. So I guess that's just something that comes with age. I wish they'd have warned me. Nothing I could do about it, but maybe I could have worked on it a little bit. So the last tour, I had no problem playing, and I still don't have any problem playing songs that you know me for. I could do that with my eyes closed.
Of course.
Do that in sleep. But I'm a kind of musician that likes to embellish stuff and take over and just hear a new song and do my thing to it. You know, it seems to work. It has worked through the years. But I can't do that like I used to because my brain still works and thinks to do stuff, and my hands just won't duplicate it. It takes too long. I never had that problem before. So we'll work on it.